What's up internet, I'm Manish from rebellionwriter.com. Till so far, we have learned about system as well as object privileges, and so today we will going to learn user roles in Oracle database. User roles is kind of an extension to user privileges and gives an ease in managing and controlling the privileges in Oracle database. Using roles, you can save a lot of time and effort. How? We will see ahead. So let's start today's tutorial. The first question which arises here is, what exactly are roles? Roles are named group of privileges that you can assign to users or other roles. So let's move ahead and see how we can create a role and grant it some privileges. By the way, if you want to know what are the features and advantages of user roles with many other information, you can read my blog on the same topic. Link is in the description box. So let's see how we can create a role. Only user with create role system privilege can create a role. And to create a role, we use create role statement. And if you are a DBA and you can log on to your database using sysuser, then that's the best way to create any role because sysuser has all the system privileges. That's why I'm going to connect my database using my sysuser. Sys at localhost is my sys connection, so I'm going to connect using this connection. Here I am. Let me quickly show you the user. As you can see, right now I'm connected to my database using sysuser with sysdba privileges. Let's create a very simple role by the name of demo1. Let me close this script output. Query is pretty simple. First we have create and role, both of which are the Oracle reserved keywords, followed by the name of the role, which is demo1 in our case. Name of the role is user defined, thus you can give whatever name you want. Then at the end of the statement we have not identified clause. Not identified clause indicate that this role is authorized by database and no password is required to enable the role. This is an optional close statement, thus if you want you can skip it. Let's execute this statement. Role demo1 created. Let's move on to our next query. We just created a very simple role demo1 with no authentication or security. Now let's create a role with password authentication. Again, we will use create role statement to create this role. The first half of this query is very identical to the first query, but in the second half we have identified by clause. Identified by clause indicate that role must be authorized by some specified method. In our case, the specific method is password, followed by identified by clause. We have our password. Let's execute. Role demo2 created. We just created a role demo2 with password authentication. In Oracle, we can also create external roles. The authentication of external roles is handled by external services such as your operating system. Let's see how we can create an external role. On executing this query, Oracle will create an external role. Let's execute. Role demo3 created. Similarly, you can also create global roles in Oracle database. The authentication of global roles are handled by Enterprise Directory Services or say Central Oracle Security Server before the role is enabled at login. Let me again close this script output. The query for creating a global role will be please read my blog for more information about global and other authentication of a role. The link is in the description box. After creation, every role is like an empty box because it doesn't have any privilege within it. Thus, it's of no use. To make a role useful, we need to grant it some privileges. We can grant both system as well as object privileges to a role. We can even grant a role to another role. To do the same, we use grant statement. Let's see how. First, we will grant a system privilege to a role demo1. You can grant any system privilege to any role in your database. You can even grant system privilege with admin option to the role as well. I will suggest you to watch my videos on system and object privileges for the better understanding of the concept. Okay, let's write the query and see how we can grant a create table system privilege to role demo1. If you want, you can also use with admin option flag here. In this query, I am granting create table system privilege with admin option to our role demo1. Let's execute. Grant succeeded. Similarly, we can grant object privilege to our role. Let's grant select object privilege over employees table of HR user to the role demo1. First, let me close this script output. Okay, let's write our query 6. While granting an object privilege to a role, Oracle doesn't allow us to use with grant option flag. Let's execute. Grant succeeded. Similarly, you can grant a role to another role. For the demonstration, I will grant the role demo1 to role demo2. Okay, let's write the query. Let me close this script output. Let me make some space. I think everything is set and you people can see things clearly. So let's write the query. On executing this query, role demo 2 will get all the privileges which we granted to role demo 1. So let's execute this query. Grant succeeded. Okay, let's move ahead and see how we can grant a role to database users. A role can be granted to any user in Oracle database, and a user with grant any role system privilege can grant and revoke a role except a global role to or from other users or roles of the database. Say you want to grant a role demo1 to our user Batman. For that, we will again use grant statement, and the query will be, let's close this script output. Okay, let's execute this query. As role demo 1 doesn't have any authentication and instead is authorized by database itself, thus it's by default enabled. But sometimes roles with authentication are not enabled by default. In such case, you have to enable them. Let's see how. We have role demo 2 which has password authentication and have creatable system privilege. Let's grant this role demo 2 to our user Hulk. Let's execute. Grant succeeded. Though this role is successfully granted, but still user Hulk cannot use the privileges of this role as it is in the disabled state. May be possible that it's enabled in your case, but in case it is disabled, then you can enable it by using set role statement. Let me show you how. On executing this query, Oracle Engine will enable this role and user Hulk can use all its privileges. Let's execute this query. Role demo 2 succeeded means now role demo 2 is enabled. I highly suggest you to read my blog on this topic as it's hard to explain everything within a tight time frame on the video. Link is in the description box. That's it for today's. Hope you enjoyed watching. Hit the like button to support this video and keep me motivated for doing more such videos. And don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you soon with another video. Till then, take care. This is Manish from Rebellion Rider.